guys, I found a new place to put my cell phone so I can go hands-free and chat with you at the same time. So the past couple days I haven't vlogged any because we've been kind of lazing around the house, and Sunday wasn't the best day here. We had to break the news. On our Friday video that I had posted, I had said we had gotten some bad news about Jeremy's grandfather. So we had to break that news to Selena. So Saturday afternoon wasn't the happiest time here in the house. And it wasn't really the most appropriate time to be vlogging either. So I skipped out on vlogging on Sunday. And then yesterday, it was kind of a mellow day here where, you know, we just took some time to just sit around and do nothing and, you know, process everything. Jeremy is still quite upset, but he's holding it together quite well. The only really fun thing that we did yesterday was we started planning our vacation for August. And so really excited about that, everyone is, even though it's been, this past week has been really crappy. We're trying to make the best out of a bad situation, if that makes sense. So we are planning our vacation. We're going to be leaving on August the 5th as soon as Jeremy gets off his night shift. I'm apparently driving to Winnipeg, and we're catching a flight at 12 a.m. on that Sunday morning. So we'll be in Newfoundland on the 6th in the afternoon. And then we will be flying back to Winnipeg on the 21st. And we'll be in Winnipeg by lunchtime on the 21st. So we'll spend a couple of days there. And then on the way back, we are going to go to Newdale. The same as we did last year, but in the daytime this time, not during the night. Because Jeremy would like to visit the... I hate saying the word cemetery, but, you know, it is what it is. That's where his grandfather will be, along with his grandmother, so he would like to stop by and pay respects. So that is some of the plans that's been happening. So we are just waiting on a few things. Our tickets will hopefully be bought in closer to the beginning of April. Our tickets this year are a little bit more expensive than last year, so the air miles that I have, it's not completely enough to cover the entire trip yet. So I need to get another 1,000 air miles before I can pay for my ticket. And then Jeremy will be able to get some money off of his ticket from his credit card, because he has like perks and everything with it. And well, then there's just obviously Selena's ticket to get, and then we're good to go. So yeah, we have the countdown starts. It's 25 weeks until vacation. Well, 25 weeks for this week. It's the 25th week started on Sunday. So, and this is Tuesday. I didn't get a phone call for work today, so I am going to be working on my new coloring books. I'm starting with the Angel one. That's dedicated to my grandmother that had passed February of last year. And so I'm going to get that coloring book done and out of the way first, because it's probably going to be the one that I spend the most time on. And we'll see how that goes. The other thing is I've had a request from Mercury Rising 777, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, to talk a little bit about where I'm from in Newfoundland, and of course I'm always willing to share. She had asked if I could talk a little bit about it, and she was wondering what brought me to Manitoba and leaving Newfoundland, and if it's as cold in Newfoundland as it is here. So to start off, the reason why I moved to Manitoba was me and Jeremy had met through Facebook. So we met online, and we had a long distance relationship for 8 or 9 months before I decided to move here. And one of the reasons why, other than the fact that we were getting to know each other, that I couldn't move here as soon as I did, in 2009 I started college. So I was going to college when I was like 24, 25 years old. And so I was going to college there, so I had to finish the course that I was taking, which was office administration. So the day that I did my last exam, I knew I had them all passed anyway. Like, I was really good. I was an A and B, some C's, not so many. It's mostly A's and B's when I was going to college, and I was so close to graduating with honors, but I flunked out of that because I was having trouble with an accounting course. Anyway, going past that, so I left to come to Thompson on, I think it was the 3rd week of August in 2010. So I've been living here since. And the reason why I moved here instead of Jeremy moving to Newfoundland is because work is better here. There's easier ways of getting a job, and there's more jobs available, and they pay higher. So other than that, he also had a kid. So at the time, Selena was 3.5-ish, so it would have been easier for me to move here because it was just me and my dog, than it was for him to move to Newfoundland because, you know, the whole custody thing and whatnot. Now that the custody thing is not an issue anymore, which for reasons I can't go into, we are planning, hopefully in the next couple of years, with some changes that are happening at Jeremy's job, we might be able to move back out to Newfoundland. So, fingers crossed for that. So that is why I left the ocean and came to the swamp, because it was more beneficial for the two of us at that time. So that was the easiest thing to do. I keep losing my straps. So the weather in Newfoundland is very windy. It's not viciously warm in the summer. You can get hot spells where it gets up to, you know, 30 degrees or whatnot, but it's very unlikely that it gets that warm all the time. So the temperatures in the summertime are usually between, you know, 20, 25 degrees, give or take, but we have really bad, my nose is itchy. We have really bad humidity sometimes, so that's where you get your heat from. Not saying the sun doesn't get hot, because it does, but we do get a lot of humidity as well. In the winter time, we get pounded and pounded and pounded with snow. I've never seen so much snow in my life before. We get snowstorms that can last for 2 days that give us 2-3 feet of snow at one time. And usually the temperatures get... we do get like -10, -20 sometimes, but it's not that normal. Usually it's between, you know, -1 to -15, and that's kind of where it stays unless we get a cold front or something come in. And the air is very wet, so it's a really damp cold, and that can be bad sometimes because it's the kind of cold that chills you right to your bone. It'll make you shiver. It's cold. But usually if we have a snowstorm, the snowstorm will last a couple of days, and then it's good for a couple of weeks, and it's sunny and whatever. Compared to Manitoba, compared to northern Thompson, because we are almost at the top of Manitoba. So the difference here is that it's a very dry heat, very dry cold, so everything is crisp. The first time when I moved here, the snow wasn't as bad, but it was my first time experiencing -54 Celsius, not Fahrenheit, Celsius. And I don't know what the conversion is or if there is one at that temperature, but it is bloody cold. I swear my nose froze up. I couldn't breathe. And to this day, when I go outside and it's colder than -30, I find it really hard to breathe. Like my lungs want to freeze up. So that is one of the big difference between Newfoundland and Manitoba, is that northern Manitoba get wicked, wicked cold temperatures, and I've experienced it up to -63 degrees Celsius, so I don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever. The other thing is snow. It can snow for 3 weeks steady. And they don't really have snowstorms here like they do in Newfoundland, where they get a dumping of like 3 to 5 feet at once. It's a continuation of snow, and it's dark all the time. It's gray all the time. Like it's sunny out today, but throughout the winter, it's very common that you can go 2-3 weeks at a time without seeing any sun, and it's just gray skies. Summertimes, it rains, or the past couple years it rained quite a bit, but it was still very warm outside as well, like up in the 30 degrees area. And like I said, the heat here is very, very, very dry. So that's kind of the comparisons between Newfoundland and Manitoba. I personally would rather live in Newfoundland. But like I said, unfortunately, at the time, this was the best situation for everybody, and that's why I did come here. But we're looking to change that. And if you enjoyed my videos from, I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm looking at the stop button. I don't even know why the camera's over here. So if you're interested in more about Newfoundland and have more questions, you can go ahead and leave them down in the comment section, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can. The only other big difference between Newfoundland and here is that here obviously there's no oceans because we're in the middle of Canada. And when I was living in Newfoundland, I was 10 minutes to 45 minutes away from a beach. And that was the one major big difference for me when I came here, was that I wasn't by the water anymore. And I find the water and the ocean, it's very soothing, very relaxing, and I can't get that here very well. There is a lake here with like a little sandy beach, but not like an ocean beach or anything that we can go to. That's decent, but still, it's not the same. But yeah. If there's any more questions that you want answered about my home province, you can go ahead and leave the questions down below in the comment section, and I'll be glad to share it with you. I really enjoy talking about Newfoundland, and like I said, we are planning on going back there again on we'll be leaving on the 5th of August, and we have a house sitter and everything lined up, and it was so easy this year, and I just hope things don't change. So I know that it's still 5 months away. 5 months? March, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. So it's still 6 months or so away. But I kind of hope things, work out the way they work out, and nothing changes. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. So we're gonna try to do some new things, different things that we haven't done yet on vacation this year, and we're skipping the zoo because we've been there. I have the hiccups a couple of times already. So we're gonna skip out the zoo and look for something else, and yeah, do some different things. So we've already researched our plane tickets and the car rental and the hotels and all that stuff. We are just waiting. We need to do a couple of things to make sure we have enough money to go. And if not, then we have to get that money. So that's the only thing that's stopping us right now. Is we know we have most of it. Just we need to work around that and get the money that we need to continue to be able to plan for the trip. So so far everything has been going good with that. But I've rambled on for 13 minutes already, and all I've done was pretty much talk about Newfoundland. So if you saw the previous vlog, we went to a Newfie social on Saturday night. We were in second thoughts of going because of what happened on Friday night. But Jeremy said that he wanted the distraction, and we bought our tickets back after Christmas. It was beginning of January, so we had bought our tickets, and I told him, we could try to sell them again and give them to somebody else, but he said no, he wanted to go, so we still went. But some of the music that you heard in the video is Newfoundland music, so yeah. So I'm going to actually cut this vlog off right here and make this vlog for, just for what it is. And I'll start another one because I have some things that I'm working on today that I'd like to be able to share with you guys, and projects that I'm going to be working on coming up in the next little while that I'd like to be able to share with you guys too. So I hope this wasn't too boring, and I hope you enjoyed the information, and I'll let you guys go, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.